You ever think you're invisible until the moment the world decides you're not? Yeah, that happened to me. For 5 years, I mopped floors and scrubbed marble at the Langston Grand Hotel, always in the dead of night, always out of sight nobody, guessing the janitor with tired eyes and a cart full of chemicals could speak 9 languages or once held a doctorate in linguistics. That was my whole plan: hide in plain sight, use my skills to search for my missing sister, Lena, without making a ripple. But you know what they say about plans, right? The universe loves to watch them unravel. Mine began to fall apart the night Christopher Langston, the CEO, no less, got me soothing a crying Dutch kid in perfect Dutch, confusing some tourists in German, then sliding in a Mandarin to untangle business guest frustrations. All in under 10 minutes. Hook, line, and sinker, I was caught. I still remember that night, the endless hum of fluorescent lights overhead, the marble lobby glowing like honey, the hotel bar just starting to buzz with late-night laughter. I moved with the kind of quiet you only get after 5 years of night shifts unseen, unheard, the world thinking you're nobody special. Jorge, the bellboy, was the only one who bothered to treat me like a real person. "Evening, Ms. Languages," he'd say, smiling like he knew I was more than I seemed. He was trying to better his English, and I always tried to encourage him, even if I could see he still thought I was some kind of genius. Truth is, he was sharper than he believed. I told him so, and he grinned, already moving on with his work, just another face in the late-night crew. Up on the 15th floor, I listened to lives happening behind closed doors: a German businessman furious over a shipment, a French couple whispering plans, 2 Japanese guests struggling to explain their dietary needs to room service. Without thinking, I stepped in. "Excuse me," I said in Japanese. "The kitchen can prepare vegetarian meals if you call extension 427. Their gratitude was genuine. Their surprise obvious. Who expects the janitor to be fluent? Before they could ask more, I slipped away, making a mental note about a botched Arabic translation on an evacuation sign near the stairs. You know what I mean? Little things like that you notice when you're used to watching the world from the edges. Meanwhile, Christopher Langston was upstairs, angry about a failed meeting. Their translator a no-show, their investment deal stalled. He had built the Langston empire by knowing every detail, every face. He liked the quiet at night, liked feeling like the master of all he surveyed. That was when he heard me, comforting the Dutch girl who'd lost her parents in the lobby. I didn't see him at first, just saw the little one, big blue eyes full of panic, and did what I always do: made myself useful, invisible but essential. "It's okay, sweetheart," I said in Dutch. "The front desk is looking for your parents." She blinked up at me. "You speak Dutch, but you're not from Holland." I just smiled. "I speak 9 languages. Want to learn how to say help in English." That's when Christopher stepped into view, his interest clearly piqued. He started throwing languages at me: French, German, Mandarin, and I answered back, maybe a little sharper in Mandarin than I needed to be. I could see the gears turning in his head. He wanted to know where I learned all this, why I was just a janitor. I gave him the standard answer: I pick up languages easy, nothing special. He didn't buy it, but I was already backing away, card in hand, not willing to stick around for more questions. But the man wouldn't let it go. He asked Jorge about me, then pulled my file sparse as a desert. 5 years on a night shift, no prior jobs listed, no education, just my contact info. Even Evelyn, his sharp-eyed assistant, was suspicious. "Don't let the uniform fool you," Jorge told him. "She's the smartest one in the building." That should have been the end, but it wasn't. That night, alone in the basement break room, I opened my locker, pulled out a tiny key, and unlocked a box full of things I shouldn't have had: a leather journal scribbled in code, old ID badges from places I was supposed to have left behind, and clippings about Lenami's sister, the missing UN linguist. That was my secret. Lena was the reason I was here. Then, tucked among my uniforms, I found a postcard: Bangkok skyline, a message in Cyrillic: "She is still alive." Bangkok. My hand shook. 3 years of silence, and suddenly a clue. The next morning, Christopher was back at it. He asked Evelyn for my personnel file, then tried to push me toward a job in guest services, said my skills were wasted on floors. I pushed back. "I like the quiet," I told him. He didn't believe me, but he let it drop for a while. Days passed, but his curiosity grew. He watched me help Jorge with a college application, teaching him tricky grammar, encouraging him in ways I never did for myself. Evelyn dug into my background, found nothing but shadows, until facial recognition flagged me as maybe being DR. Bruxa vanished UN linguist, but with a different haircut, a different face. The puzzle pieces were there. Nobody wanted to put them together. Then, on a Friday night, Christopher called me in to interpret for a German diplomat. I hesitated every word. Every technical term I translated, I knew I was blowing my cover. But Jorge needed money for his scholarship, and so I agreed. The diplomat was impressed, Christopher more so. Afterward, he pressed for the truth. "What's your real background?" I deflected. "Some of us just want to be invisible," I said, walking out before he could ask more. But the world wouldn't let me stay invisible. A French couple in the lobby, both divorce attorneys. Hilariously enough, arguing so loud they made a scene. I stepped in, found the heart of their problem, and helped them talk it out in French, a little English, and some laughter. It worked. I watched them walk away, hand in hand, and felt something crack inside. Maybe I miss being useful, or maybe I miss my sister more than I admitted. Later that night, another message met his time, a photo of Lena, a torn document, words about behavioral analysis, and a name, LB, Thailand operation. It was proof she was alive, somewhere, and people were watching me. Jorge found me, saw the photo, put two and two together. "You're hiding here because of her, aren't you?" I nodded. "If there's a chance she's alive, I have to try." The next day, Christopher offered me a new role for an upcoming gala-cultural liaison, interpreter just for one night. I took it, not because I wanted the job, but because the pay would help Jorge and the event might help me find out who was looking for Lena. The night of the gala, the hotel sparkled with diplomats, investors, and power brokers. I wore a blue dress Jorge's idea, and for a moment, I almost felt like myself again. I slid between languages, smoothing over deals and cultural faux pas, even as a sharp-eyed Japanese businessman watched my every move. His name was Mr. T, and when he cornered me, he mentioned DR. Lena Brooks. My pulse hammered, but I played it cool. No, I didn't know her, of course not. Meanwhile, Evelyn was piecing everything together, her suspicions, my file, facial recognition hits. She got a call from Silas Corp, a private security firm looking for multilingual employees. And she, thinking she was doing the right thing, told them about me. At the gala, Christopher pulled me aside, worried. Did I know Mr. Yeah. Why did I look so rattled? I dodged his questions, needing air. On the loading dock, he pressed me. Who was Lena Brooks? I finally broke, told him. Lena was my sister, a UN linguist who'd vanished after discovering her work was being twisted for manipulation, not peace. I went looking for her, asked too many questions, and had to disappear myself. 5 years scrubbing floors, waiting for a sign. And now, with people recognizing me, my safety net was unraveling. We finished the gala, but the damage was done. Christopher asked for my full story, so that night I went to his office and told him everything, my real name, my past, how I'd fake my death to hide. I showed him the clues I'd gathered, the postcard from Bangkok. He believed me, promised to help. But Evelyn, eager to be a hero, had already tipped off Silas Corp. Black SUVs rolled up to the hotel, men in suits spreading through the lobby. Christopher tried to stall them, but I'd already gotten the warning, they're here. Get out now. Years of hiding paid. If I slipped out a window onto the fire escape, heart pounding as I watched the search swarm the building. Jorge, brave as ever, misdirected the agents, telling them I'd left for Philadelphia. I doubled back, found a key hidden in the breakroom directions to a storage unit from an old friend, Marcus Webb, Lena's handler. The storage unit held boxes of evidence and a video message. Lena was alive, held in Thailand, and the technology we developed was being abused on a global scale. If I didn't act, millions could be manipulated without ever knowing. No more running. I decided to fight back. I met up with Christopher and Jorge, roped them into the rescue. Jorge, it turned out, had whistleblower experience of his own. In Bangkok, we worked with local contacts, planned a risky infiltration. I slipped into the facility through an old supply tunnel, found Lena changed, medicated, but alive. The place was full of prisoners like us, all forced to perfect the linguistic manipulation tech. Security caught on. We freed the prisoners, made for the exit. Lena, weak but fierce, helped me hack the system, but I had to stay behind, downloading evidence zettabytes of data while guards closed in. I broadcast everything to contacts worldwide, then barely escaped through the vents as Silas Corp stormed the building. Back in the States, we set up a safe house. Lena slowly recovered, the others too, but Silas Corp spun their own story calling us terrorists, smearing our names. With the help of Christopher's contacts and Evelyn's redemption arc, we planned one last move: expose the truth during the upcoming Global Economic Summit. We hacked the translation system, broadcast the reality to world leaders exposing the manipulation as it happened. The world freaked out. Silas Corp tried to stop us, even stormed our location, but we finished the broadcast and triggered a dead man's switch to release the evidence if we were caught. 6 months later, the world was changed. Laws protected cognitive liberty. The hotel became the Langston Institute for Linguistic Ethics. I ran the show, Lena testified before the UN, Jorge went to college to build tools protecting against manipulation. Evelyn ran ethics. Christopher, now a changed man, stood by my side. But the fight wasn't over. Every day brought new reports, new threats, new people needing help. Sometimes I miss the quiet of invisibility, but now I use my skills for good, not just for hiding. The world had woken you, Pand. I was no longer alone. What would you sacrifice to protect someone you love? Your safety, your identity, your soul? If this story made you see the invisible people around you a little differently, hit that like, share your thoughts below it. What do you think is the real price of freedom? And who gets to decide?